Genesis, friends, is late to the SUV ball, but this 2021 GV80 is no wallflower, and my first drive in it suggests it's got the goods to be the life of the party. Let's dig in. By now, you've probably already read up on this midsize luxury crossover, and likewise, you've probably already decided how you feel about the way it looks. With its truly massive Superman shield grille, striking double hash lights, and oversized wheels, the GV80 won't be mistaken for any Audi, BMW, Mercedes, or Lexus, or any SUV this side of a Bentley Bentayga. This is unsubtle design, and whether you like that assertiveness is up to you, but this Genesis has got presence and it looks expensive. Naturally, it's important not to break the luxury spell once inside, and especially with this loaded prestige model, the GV80 does nothing to dissuade you that this is anything but a very premium, very fancy SUV. Up until this model year, there were always some asterisks around the cabin quality of Genesis models. Little deficiencies around some of the switchgear or the feel of out-of-the-way plastics. That is not a problem here. The GV80's interior is comfortable, well screwed together, and most importantly, it feels special. That's thanks to its rich multi-tone quilted leather upholstery, precise and hefty feeling knurled dials and switches, and that easy-to-use billboard-sized 14.5-inch infotainment system with its vivid graphics, speedy operations, and clear camera views. Did I mention the cool 3D gauge cluster that you have to see in person to appreciate? There's plenty of head, shoulder, and legroom in both rows of seats. Yes, you can get a power fold third row in a single mid-range V6 trim, but there won't be much room back there for anybody, so I'd pass unless you really want that flexibility. If you do go for that third row, you're also going to miss out on my pick of the trim range, Prestige. While I rarely recommend going for a vehicle's top model, I'm going to do exactly that with this GV80, because features like that all-digital gauge cluster I mentioned come as part of it, as does nicer quality Nappa leather and a wonderfully high-fidelity 21-speaker Lexicon surround sound system. I think features like this help the GV80 feel exceptional and actually more luxurious than what we've seen out of comparable German and Japanese competitors lately. About the only luxury tricks this thing is missing is a Wi-Fi hotspot and wireless Apple CarPlay, although you still have the corded kind along with Android Auto. Oh, one other thing about the Prestige, those 22-inch wheels somehow don't require having a chiropractor on retainer, even on Michigan's apocalyptic road surfaces. Finally, I feel unusually confident recommending the top trim because the GV80 is such a good value in its class. More on that in a minute. Of course, if you want to save some money, you can probably live with the smaller 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. With 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque paired to an 8-speed automatic, this powertrain certainly gets the job done, and you can even get a rear-wheel drive model if that's your thing. That said, and you can call me shallow, but in a 5,000-pound vehicle with a design that's this in your face and this luxurious, I want the brass and the soundtrack to back it up. Now, the 3.5-liter turbo is still super quiet on the inside. There's active noise cancellation, laminated glass, and all kinds of din-suppressing materials at work. But the engine sounds better on the outside, and more importantly, it's got the power to underscore those looks. In fact, it's got 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. Plus, that torque peak kicks in earlier and hangs around longer in the rev range than the 2.5T. All of this adds up to a 5.7-second 0 to 60 time. That won't frighten off anybody in a BMW X5 S-Drive 40i, let alone the X5M, but let's be clear. While the GV80 handles very well, it's definitely a coddle me first, thrill me second SUV. This is not a steroidal sports luxury utility vehicle like an AMG-tuned Mercedes GLE. There's no rough-edged personality to the GV80's mannerisms to goad you into thinking that you could hunt down a sports car. With its comfortable cabin, supple steering, and easy-to-modulate brakes, the GV80 is something of a zen cocoon. It's more about balanced total luxury. This is a vehicle that knows and embraces exactly what it is, and it's excellent because of that. Speaking of embracing, the GV80 holds its occupants near and dear with a comprehensive suite of standard active safety features. Forward collision with auto brake, lane departure warning, and blind spot assist are included, as is a driver monitor. Impressively, so is adaptive cruise with lane centering, sign recognition, and automated lane changes. If there's an Achilles heel with the GV80, it's fuel economy, and that is a problem shared by every model in this class, at least those without some sort of hybrid assist. In the case of the GV80, a base rear-drive 4-cylinder rings up at 21 city, 25 miles per gallon highway, or 23 combined on premium fuel. A loaded 6-cylinder all-wheel drive model like this Prestige is rated at 23 mpg city, 18 highway, and 20 combined. These are unimpressive but wholly competitive figures among this vehicle's rivals. If you're looking for more impressive numbers, I suggest checking out pricing. The GV80 starts at right around $50,000 delivered. Yes, the Lexus RX is slightly cheaper for starters, but it's also smaller, less powerful, and less luxurious. The Germans, they're all more expensive. At the other end of the range, my pick, the loaded up Prestige with all-wheel drive and the big engine, rings up at $72,000. To be sure, that's a lot of money, but it's far, far cheaper than a comparable European, and even then, I think I prefer the way the GV80 drives and feels inside. Listen, Genesis may have miscalculated by launching with a bunch of sedans just as consumers were abandoning the passenger car party in favor of the call the cops SUV Rager down the street. But now that the GV80 is finally here, I gotta say, all is forgiven. This isn't just one of the best new luxury SUVs of the year, it's one of the most impressive new models of the year, period. So, what do you think of this GV80? Is it your pick in the class, or would you rather have something from Europe or Japan? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want to read more about this GV80, click on over to theroadshow.com.